The process of reaching a conclusion based on an observed pattern is called inductive reasoning. It involves making observations of specific instances and then drawing a general conclusion based off of the identified pattern. You start with specific observations and then you make a broader generalization from them, and unfortunately, things are not always certain. Conclusions reached through inductive reasoning are potentially likely, but not guaranteed to be true. You use inductive reasoning in everyday life, or you witness it in everyday life, like predicting the weather is essentially inductive reasoning, because you are using past patterns to make your assumption. To put it simply, you notice that every time you wear your lucky socks, your team wins the game. Based on this pattern, you might conclude that wearing your lucky socks brings good luck to your team. This is just the basic overview of the process of inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is a dangerous trap because you can sort of garner information from something that we know is happening and then use it to get angry or excited, happy, pissed off about something that might not be happening at all, just based off of the pattern. Let's say you have two roommates, and one of the roommates really likes donuts, and every time you buy donuts for the house, they eat most, if not all of them. And then you could start to just assume that the next time the donuts go missing, it's that roommate, it's that donut-eating roommate, that damn dirty donut-eating roommate. But we don't really know because there's another roommate in the house. They could also be eating them. Or maybe you have a dog and it jumped up on the counter and ate them. Or the donuts were stale and your roommate threw them out and is going to buy new ones right now. There's so many things that happen in life. There's so many possibilities that happen in life. And so you get it. I don't need to explain this to you like you're stupid, but I kind of do. I kind of do need to explain this to you guys like you're stupid. Let me explain why. I have seen some of the dumbest Call of Duty takes over the last few years. Just honestly, since I started looking into Call of Duty content, I have seen the dumbest, most harebrained, stupid takes. I mean, sometimes the stupid takes I'm seeing is just me. I just go back to my old videos and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I said that. But either way, as Call of Duty players, as a community, we are aware of certain things that happen behind the scenes with Call of Duty. The big one being just the fact that skill-based matchmaking, or EOMM, exists. Understanding how skill-based matchmaking and engagement-optimized matchmaking affects Call of Duty is very eye-opening. Once you realize that your performance every match is a sort of cataloged stat that is being sort of used for you and against you throughout your play session, it makes you paranoid about what other things they might be doing that with. We know that blank occurs, so blank might also be occurring all the time. So what are some of the claims? Well, not just the matchmaking being sort of optimized and messed with behind the scenes, but potentially your damage, your connection, your hitbox, the particle effects from explosions like smoke and debris and fog, and then even your aim assist settings or recoil. I have heard it all. I have literally heard an argument that went on for a long time. It became a little bit of a consensus. I don't know who started it. It was in my chat, it was in my comment section, that if you are doing too well in Call of Duty and you're beating skill-based matchmaking by being too good, they will make your last bullet in a gunfight disappear and have you lose the gunfight. Because the people that are making this claim obviously don't understand how latency works, and that sometimes, yeah, your client-side firearm will go off, your controller will vibrate, your screen will flash, you'll hear the sound, but the hit scan or the projectile doesn't touch the opponent because you did actually die a little bit before, and it just took a while for it to register. And it feels even worse in person than when reviewing the footage back because of just adrenaline and excitement. You don't really realize that you're sort of perceiving some things on a bit of a lag because everything in Call of Duty happens so fast. It's hard to tell if it's lag or you missed or the secret third thing hiding behind the curtain that's out to destroy your play session. Spectacle is also one of the major factors here with perceiving Call of Duty as a rigged game. The spectacle of the largest entertainment franchise, the largest shooter franchise on the planet, rigging your bullets and protecting new players with latency and skill-based fog and damage and aim assist, as well as the established, understood, engagement optimized and skill-based matchmaking, the spectacle's too great to ignore. It's like when you can kind of convince yourself that your house is haunted because your brain wants the excitement of there being an evil demon specter in your house, you can sort of start to perceive things as out of the ordinary, whereas if you're not thinking in those terms, nothing out of the ordinary is actually happening and nothing actually grabs your attention. It's weird how hauntings only really seem to start in the average person's home once they start looking to see if their house is haunted. We have inductive reasoning, which is to predict or assume something that is unseen based on other patterns that we've witnessed. And then you have confirmation bias, the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of one's existing beliefs or theories. Now we live in the information age where we believe almost every headline we read because we're so used to having information downloaded, we don't perceive things as false, untrue, or lying, especially again if it falls in line with our belief system and our pre-established theories. Also, the ego is in play. Call of Duty is an interesting study. I mean, FPS games in general, but as a Call of Duty fan, I'm just going to limit it to Call of Duty. Call of Duty is an interesting case study because you have people that actively they have school, they have jobs, they have kids, they have marriages, they have all this stuff, and they want to sit in front of their TV or monitor, and they want to compete against real people in a cutthroat 200, 300 millisecond time to kill shooter where things are just unfair. I mean, FPS games are inherently unfair in multiple ways. The design of an FPS game is oxymoronic because you have to make it fun for somebody, which means it's not fun for somebody else, meaning the game is technically always fun and never fun. And you have people that sit down and they want to engage with that day after day because the ego is involved. You still want to beat people. I have a video coming out about this because I really hate the people that say they only play COD for fun, because that is also an ego defense mechanism. I have a video coming out about that soon. Please hit the bell icon and subscribe to watch that one. So you have ego and competition, you have spectacle, you have conspiracy, you have confirmation bias and inductive reasoning mixed up into a perfect little swirl of there's skill-based damage, and there is skill-based fog and particle effects, and skill-based aim assist. Here's a really out of context clip of a laggy match of Call of Duty. Look at how my gun doesn't do enough damage. Look at this footage of me not understanding how aim assist works. I mean, like, honestly, it wasn't until like Modern Warfare 2019 that even pro players stopped to understand how aim assist works. There were COD players rapidly ADSing and un-ADSing trying to snap onto target because they thought the aim assist worked the way it did in the campaign in Zombies. You have people that don't actually observe the game they're in. They take it for granted. They don't understand how body multipliers work, how aim assist works, how lag works. They don't understand the weapon they're using and the range they're fighting at. I remember during Infinite Warfare, there was a weapon variant called the NV4 Flatline, which had advertised infinite damage range, but it had a lower RPM, which meant that even though its damage range never changed, which was awesome, it just meant you got a consistent 4-shot kill with a lower rate of fire than the base NV4, so your time to kill was actually slower except at max ranges. So really it was only a gun worth using past like 40, 30, like I think it was like 38, 40 meters. So past 38, 40 meters, which on Infinite Warfare was pretty hard to find, but only then did you have a small increase to your time to kill, or I guess a small decrease of your time to kill, either way. And I'm not just gonna sit here and say, hey, there's no evidence for a lot of these things, so it's impossible that they're happening. I'm not gonna say that, because that's obvious. It's obvious that because we don't have any evidence, no one's delved into the code and found this out. Nobody has tracked this down. No dev has secretly spoken out on 4chan about how they're rigging Call of Duty. Nothing like that has happened. So I already condescendingly explained inductive reasoning and confirmation bias like you're a baby in this video. So instead, going back to the idea that you only think your house is haunted when you try to check and see if it's haunted is, yeah, just like that invisible specter that only appears when you think about it, this intangible spectacle that you have is hurting the franchise. And the reason it's hurting the franchise is because there are actual problems in Call of Duty. You don't need to take away from the importance of discussing EOMM and skill-based matchmaking, talking about how certain operator skins completely blend into the map, talking about how certain operator skins have confusing hitboxes now that make gunfights weird, talking about how movement is affecting the series. I feel like Call of Duty's been out so long that the generation of people that started the conversations about stuff like headshot multipliers and flinch and whatever, those people are kind of tired and they've been reiterating the same things for a long time, and the COD devs mostly know how to handle this kind of stuff now, for the most part. So it's not really that interesting to talk about actual gameplay mechanics that make the game feel weird, janky, inconsistent, and unfair. So we're talking about this crazy invisible spectacle that can't be, talked about or proven in any meaningful way. And this detracts from actual issues. And this is an issue that happens throughout all of reality and humanity. If you are focusing on an invisible, intangible spectacle that would be so crazy if it was true, oh my God, you're taking away from actual issues that we can prove and that we can definitively show in footage as being a problem. Instead of breaking down how certain things are broken, we're having breakdowns over things we haven't even perceived to break yet. And I'm gonna end this video with a really hot take. Even with skill-based matchmaking, I do not believe Call of Duty is rigged. Even if your opponents are good and your teammates are bad, which again, that's up to you. I made a video talking about how you need to play with people and like coordinate and make friends and play matches together to have a better time. I was told that was wrong and shouldn't have to do that. Okay, have fun, Pookie. But the point is, I don't think Call of Duty is rigged because Call of Duty is still down to what's in front of you. It doesn't matter if your teammates suck and your enemies are better or the match is completely just disproportionate in order to optimize somebody else's matchmaking experience. That does not matter to me because the person in front of you is still a real player with hands on a keyboard, mouse, or controller in their hand, screen in front of them trying to beat you. And yeah, the video game is software. It's an electronic toy. It has issues, it has bugs, it has problems. There's going to be balancing issues, there's going to be technical issues, there's going to be hitching and lack of optimization. Then you have latency and lag and packet loss on like a server side. So what it comes down to, what I want to say here is that Call of Duty is not rigged. Stop chasing the invisible ghost in the machine. If you have evidence, I would love for you guys to tweet it at me. My Twitter is linked in the description below, or hit me up in my Discord, also linked in the description below. And unfortunately, it's going to come down to you asking yourself, why are you more willing to believe this unproven spectacle of information instead of just getting good? Why aren't you running drills? Why aren't you running no aim assist aim drills with double health bots? Why aren't you plugging your PS5 or Xbox or your PC into the router with an Ethernet cable to get a better connection? Why aren't you doing this? Why are you so afraid of the invisible? Why are you so angry at something you can't even prove is happening to you when you could just be getting fucking good? If you don't want to play the game because you believe it's rigged, I don't want to see you in my lobby. I don't want to see you in my comment section. All of this is optional. We are talking about an electronic toy. Get a firm fucking grip on your life. See you when I see you guys. Goodbye.